But first, let's talk economics. Your favourite subject, I'm sure. The Bank of England's decision yesterday, well, it brought relief for 2 million homeowners. NatWest, Nationwide and TSB cut the price of mortgages on the same day amid a mounting optimism that rates had peaked. Other lenders are expected to follow, with brokers predicting more fixed-rate deals at less than 5%, helping 700,000 homeowners whose deals are expected to come to an end in the next 6 months, and a further 1.3 million on variable rates. Well, let's talk to Jonathan Davis, economist, wealth advisor, and author of the Boom and Bust report. Jonathan, hello.
Hi, Henry.
Hi. Now, are you as excited as other commentators appear to be about this move by the NatWest, Nationwide and TSB? I mean, how would you assess the measure of their cuts? Because, I mean, I don't think it's not that big, is it?
Well, in a nutshell, remember only a year and a half ago, mortgages were, say, 1.5%.
Yeah.
Recently, they've been 5 to 6%. So if they cut a fraction of a percent, they're still 2 or 3 times what people could have been paying just 18 months ago. It's not going to make the blindest bit of difference to the housing market.
What might make a bit of difference to the housing market, do you think?
Oh, well, there's a leading question. The assumption
I'm leading you to say, well, if there's a competition between them to cut prices more drastically.
No, that won't make any difference because they wouldn't be able to cut enough. Look, mortgages, like, say, a 5-year fixed rate mortgage is effectively based upon the general interest rate for the government borrowing over a 5-year period. It's called the government gilt rate, the UK gilt rate. So, you're looking at around about 4 or just over 4% over that period. So there's no way that lenders can lend out less than what the government can borrow at. So even if there was this mythical competition that you talk about, they're still not going to be charging any less than, say, 4.5%, as I say, for a 5-year fix. So your question was, what can be done to help the housing market? Well, the reason why it's a leading question is because I don't think anything can be done to help the housing market. Global interest rates have absolutely soared in the last 15 months. And the global economy is either in or imminently going into an economic recession. Manufacturing has been in contraction for a year. Unemployment is now rising. Wages have hardly kept up with inflation over the last couple of years. The UK is teetering on the edge of going into the biggest economic recession in decades. And I'm astonished that the mainstream media hasn't picked up on this. It's blindingly obvious.
Why do you say it's going to be one of the biggest in decades? I mean, I'm old enough to remember not just the one in 2008, which I think we all remember, but the one in the early 90s, which was colossal. But lots of first-time buyers like me leapt on it because we were able to buy 1- and 2-bedroom flats for £50,000. These now cost £500,000.
They do, or so.
Yeah.
Look, the only thing you and your listeners need to focus on to understand the outlook for the UK economy, and I guess incidentally for house prices, is the fact that base rates have gone from effectively 0 to 5.25% in 15 months. This is the biggest and sharpest rise in interest borrowing rates in history, bearing in mind that we are in an economy living on an ocean of debt. The servicing costs now for these debts are literally astronomical. And when you bring it down to house prices, well, they peaked in the spring of 2022, just as interest rates were starting to rise. Now, the indices show that they peaked in the autumn of last year, but the indices are 6 to 9 months in arrears. And now when you look at the likes of the Nationwide and the Halifax, they're roughly 5% down on the peak, but they're 6 months in arrears. So the average prices that they're showing are what was actually agreed for sale 6 months ago.
Yeah.
We're now clearly in the autumn of 2023. We've had a year of interest rate rises since the beginning of 2022. And what most people don't realise, and I don't understand why economists don't push this to the hilt, the effect on an economy of changes in interest rates takes about 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
So we've only seen the effect of the first half of 22 increases in interest rates. We're not going to see the effects of July's increase in interest rate, July 23, until the second half of next year. We've got a lot further to go, unfortunately, towards this economic recession, which is likely to take us right through to 2025, as well as a house price crash as well.
Jonathan, wow, you've taken my breath away. I wish we had more time, but we're going to have to end it there. Maybe just as well. Jonathan Davies, economist, wealth advisor, and author of the Boom and Bust Report. This is Henry Bonsu on Times Radio.